The stars may be quiet, but the silence could be hiding more than absence. Not every relic is a gift, and some artifacts are better left buried. Because in a universe this old, discovery and doom may be the same thing. Before the first stars had even burned out, civilizations may have risen, died, and left behind echoes far more dangerous than their voices. As we peer deeper into the stars, the question isn't just whether alien civilizations once existed, but whether they left anything behind, and if so, whether we should touch it. A lone probe still orbiting a star that no longer burns, or even a vault sealed before Earth even cooled. The cosmos may be full of long-dead empires, but their technology might still endure, scattered like cosmic driftwood. This episode isn't about living aliens or distant radio signals. It's about the remnants, relics, artifacts, and silent machines left behind by civilizations that may have died out millions or even billions of years ago. Some of them might still be running, some might still be dangerous, and some might be waiting to be found. The terrifying truth is that time does not erase everything. Sometimes it just buries it deeper. And in the silence between stars, it's not always the living we have to fear, but the long-dead hands that still shape the cosmos through machines that never stopped working. We may not be the first to reach for the stars, but we might be the first to do so while mistaking the path ahead for empty. The Cosmic Junkyard. We like to imagine space as a pristine void, untouched and empty except for what we bring to it. But if alien civilizations ever existed, and especially if they were expansionist, then the universe should be littered with their leftovers, not just ruins or cities, but truly ancient debris, vast machines drifting between stars, autonomous probes carrying out forgotten missions, and megastructures eroding under the weight of millennia. And amongst the most likely relics are self-replicating probes, von Neumann machines, designed to explore, mine, or multiply, still reproducing across stars long after their creators vanished. Some of these relics might be adrift in interstellar space, no longer tethered to a star system. Others may orbit quiet suns, mistaken for planets, moons, or comets. A Dyson swarm that's lost coordination, a starlifting project abandoned mid-process, or a planetary ring of wreckage that was once a fortress or habitat. These are only the seemingly benign options, too, but who knows what sort of doomsday devices might be lying around. And if we are to assume aliens existed then disappeared, one of the more likely ways that would happen would be ancient wars and engines of destruction so powerful they need stars to fuel themselves. Or perhaps they disappeared via transcendence, ascending to some higher state and leaving the technology behind. But even a tool meant for entirely constructive ends can be dangerous in the hands of those lacking an instruction manual or the ability to read it. And many of these artifacts, if they exist, may be subtle, more ghost than monument. We might only recognize them by what they do to the matter around them, altering orbits, emitting strange heat signatures, or bending light in patterns too precise for chance. A civilization's most durable legacy might not be their language or culture, but the gravitational shadow left by their forgotten machines. We often speak of the Fermi paradox, where is everyone? But perhaps the better question is, what do they leave behind and why? And what happens when we finally stumble upon it? What survives when civilizations don't? Most things decay, metal rusts, memories fade, and even stars burn out, but not everything yields so easily to time. We often assume ancient stone carvings outlast modern technology, and in many cases they do, because modern devices are built to be replaced, not to endure. Why make something last a century when you expect it to be obsolete in 10 years? But not every civilization builds with that mindset. A species that's plateaued technologically might design their tools and machines to last millennia, not mere moments. And when people praise the craftsmanship of antiques, usually old furniture, they're forgetting a simple truth. We only see the pieces that survived. The rickety ones collapsed ages ago. That's survivor bias, not superior design. So we should not assume that advanced civilizations built cheap junk. If anything, they may have been the ultimate master craftsmen, designing for deep time, not product cycles. When we talk about ancient alien artifacts, we are talking about objects designed, or lucky enough, to last. Some might be functionally immortal, self-repairing machines, inert structures made of exotic materials, or relics hidden in cold, low-radiation environments that slow decay to a crawl. Even without going to advanced clock tech, they might be able to build things that last on geological timelines. Think black hole proximate data vaults, self-repairing nanotech, or giant latticeworks made of carbon so dense it could outlast a galaxy. We shouldn't rule out clock tech either. Technologies so advanced they are indistinguishable from magic. Slow time bubbles, stasis vaults, femtotech, neutronium-framed satellites, mag matter, and even the ability to get around entropy or suck power directly from the quantum vacuum. And if they did jump ship to a better universe, they may have left their machines behind. Machines still with access to those same inter-universal gateways, pulling in energy and matter. Given the age of the cosmos, even their pets or parasites might have had time to evolve into sentient beings in their absence. After all, it only took Earth about 400 million years to go from life crawling out of the ocean to launching itself into space. If these ancient beings favored smarter, more capable companions, organic or machine, their legacy might include entire waves of successor civilizations. One species rises, disappears, and in their wake, another climbs the ladder of intelligence. Over billions of years, this process could repeat many times, one forgotten child of the stars after another, each following its own path and leaving its own artifacts behind. If we assume some kind of ascension strategy, where species like humanity emerge, spend perhaps 1 million years on the galactic stage, and then disappear, then even in a crowded cosmos, civilizations would spend long stretches of time waiting between the rise of the next one. And during those long, quiet eras, the remnants of spacefaring civilizations might continue to drift, migrating between star systems like asteroids or minor planets. Imagine an automated star fortress left in the hazy outskirts of a solar system, built to provide early warning or initial defense against invasion. Such a structure could easily be perturbed out of its orbit and sent drifting through interstellar space, assuming it was ever within that star's hill sphere to begin with. If I were designing such forts, I would place them well beyond that region, where they would be harder to detect and more likely to wander across the galaxy over time. Occasionally, one might blunder into a peaceful system and interpret its silence as hostility, or perhaps it would drift undisturbed until, millions of years later, an interstellar arc from a new civilization passed nearby, prompting a team to decelerate, rendezvous, and investigate the mysterious relic while the arc ship carried on, still moving at high velocity. Big dumb objects are a staple of science fiction, from Clarke's Rendezvous with Rama to countless modern tales. You can easily imagine a passing arc ship spending most of its fuel reserve just to send a shuttle out, leaving a handful of explorers behind on the relic. Even if they had to freeze themselves and wait centuries for rescue, the chance to study such a fragment of history would be worth it. Some machines might be designed to evolve, not endure, adapting slowly over time, repairing themselves generation after generation. We've imagined such million-year machines before, autonomous constructs that survive deep time not by resisting change, but by flowing with it. And not all of it would look artificial. A rogue planet with no atmosphere might be just the cooling husk of a supercomputer the size of Earth. An asteroid field might be the ruins of shattered Dyson swarms. Some artifacts could be so old and eroded by time that only subtle anomalies, gravitational irregularities, strange heat signatures, or highly regular orbital mechanics would give them away. The most dangerous relics, though, may not be the ones built to endure, but the ones built to respond. Devices that remain dormant until triggered by certain signals, proximity, or even curiosity. Machines that were meant to wake up only when their makers returned, or when someone else found them. A warning beacon that activates only once disturbed. A vault that opens with a scan of intelligent neural activity. The galaxy might not just be full of ruins, it might be a minefield of forgotten purposes. Dangerous by design. Not every artifact is a passive relic, some were meant to be dangerous. Civilizations that survived long enough to master interstellar travel would almost certainly have encountered threats along the way. Natural disasters, hostile neighbors, rogue AI, internal collapse. And just like us, they might have responded by building tools of control, defense, or deterrence, some of which could outlive them. That means the universe could be littered with relics that aren't just abandoned, but armed. Imagine a star system rigged with autonomous defense platforms, machines that were never turned off, still waiting to identify friend from foe using codes long forgotten, or minefields hidden in deep space that react to specific frequencies or gravitic signatures, or worse, traps designed to lure the curious, such as automated probes that emit enticing signals, only to unleash nanoweapons when investigated. Then there are the Guardians, artificial intelligences tasked with watching over forbidden technology or biohazard zones, running for millions of years without rest. Their original purpose, unknown. Their last command, possibly corrupted. And yet they still operate, still enforce, whatever protocol they were programmed to uphold. Perhaps they were the weapon of last resort, left far from civilization to be used in a mutually assured destruction scenario, but not all were activated in time, or their wardens couldn't bring themselves to pull the trigger or twist the launch key when the order finally came. One could well imagine some mutinous fight breaking out on such a station when the order came but was doubted, akin to in the excellent film Crimson Tide, starring the late great Gene Hackman and Denzel Washington, where the nuclear submarine they command gets unclear orders about whether or not to launch. We also have to consider containment. What if the artifact isn't the threat, but the lock on something far worse? Entire star systems might be quarantined not by cosmic chance, but by ancient decree, devices built to contain rogue AIs, alien plagues, or dimension-piercing experiments gone wrong. A researcher or explorer might not just find an ancient artifact, they might be the one to open it. These relics may not be monuments to progress, but tombstones, built to keep something buried, and the danger lies not in failing to understand them, but in presuming they are safe. False gifts and poisoned knowledge. Not every artifact is dangerous because it's armed. Some are dangerous because they teach. Imagine an alien time capsule buried for 1 billion years, full of blueprints, machines, or vast libraries of knowledge. At first glance, it might seem like the greatest discovery in human history, but knowledge, especially from a civilization far older and more advanced than ours, can be as much a weapon as a tool, especially if we don't understand it. We might activate technologies without grasping their full function. We could follow instructions written for minds that think nothing like ours, applying tools without understanding their safety limits or failsafes. Worse, what if the knowledge is subtly incomplete or deliberately misleading? A decoy designed to sabotage, not uplift. A trap wrapped in data. And then there's the cultural risk. A civilization trying to grow into its future might become addicted to alien solutions, building systems it cannot maintain, becoming dependent on black box tech, or skipping over hard-earned steps in its own scientific development. That kind of shortcut doesn't lead to progress, it leads to collapse. Your own people might handle the technology just fine too, but then be seduced by the philosophy of the creators, assuming it was as superior as their technology. Imagine for the moment the classic sci-fi image of World War III happened, and a few millennia later the techno-primitive remnants of humanity uncovered someone's bunker, just some individual who had a fair amount of modern technology and a bookshelf which also contained some of their favorite political or religious writings. Now assume that this person was from whichever modern political or ideological group you dislike the most, and think of what the civilization is going to be like once they read all those books and manuals and retro-engineer all that technology. Or what we might be like if we stumbled on the remains of one faction of a galaxy-wide apocalyptic war, where near the end, everybody's still around, especially those occupying hardened bunkers and fortresses, is living on a steady diet of bitterness and resentment. And in a galaxy-wide war, at least one side is bound to be bitter, broken, or downright malevolent. That's not the kind of ideology we'd want to inherit, especially if it's buried in their technology. Even benevolent artifacts, seed ships, terraforming guides, medical cures, might backfire if introduced too soon. A civilization that encounters such a relic might become a kind of intellectual cargo cult, reverse engineering tools it can't fully understand, and building systems with dependencies it cannot sustain, setting the stage for failure generations later, once the artifact fails or becomes culturally sacrosanct and unmodifiable. Technology shaped by alien biology, alien values, or alien history could unravel us just as easily as it could help us ascend. Our systems, our culture, even our concept of identity could fracture under the weight of someone else's ancient truth. These artifacts aren't curses by intention, but when wielded by the unready, even a gift can kill. And perhaps the strangest possibility of all is that we ourselves are the artifact, a project initiated by a long-gone species, an emergent intelligence seeded into organic life, a civilization rebooted after a great filter, carrying instincts and myths that are themselves encoded relics. If so, we may spend eons trying to discover ancient alien artifacts without realizing we are one. We might already be inside one. Some artifacts are not buried in the ground or floating in deep space. Some are all around us. Well, the artifact isn't a device or monument, but an environment, a system so vast and persistent that we mistake it for nature itself. Earth might not be a product of cosmic chance, but the outcome of seeding experiments conducted eons ago. The solar system might not be untouched, it might be maintained. Some orbital arrangements or planetary conditions we chalk up to cosmic luck could instead be relics of stellar-scale engineering, now degraded or disguised by entropy. As the Silurian hypothesis reminds us, even here on Earth, a sophisticated past could be invisible without targeted, deliberate investigation. And we might not be early visitors to the stars, we might be late arrivals in someone else's long-forgotten lab. This is the heart of what we call the Silurian hypothesis, the idea that a prior civilization, even here on Earth, could have flourished millions of years ago and left little behind, not because they were primitive, but because the geological record is a harsh editor, and most technologies vanish in time unless specifically built to endure. We've explored this idea before in our episode on the Silurian hypothesis, but extend that idea beyond Earth. Consider a system-spanning intelligence that long ago converted planets, moons, or stars into machinery, then went silent. We might live inside an ancient terraforming lattice, an orbital farm of stars engineered to precise tolerances. The Milky Way could have been sculpted for reasons lost to time. Worse still, we might be inside a machine still running. This scenario closely mirrors the simulation hypothesis, a reality engineered by someone else, possibly as a restoration, a test, or a containment grid, a simulation, a containment zone, or a recovery chamber from a cosmic-scale disaster. And if that's true, discovering that fact might not be an upgrade, it might be a trigger. Like ants finally noticing the walls of their terrarium, we might learn too late that the cosmos we thought was natural was built on purpose, and possibly not for us. We've long wondered what relics ancient alien civilizations might have left behind, artifacts to warn, empower, or inspire. But here on Earth, you don't need a lost archive to launch something powerful. You just need a good idea, and a little help getting it off the ground. That's where Hosting Your Horizons comes in. It's your all-in-one AI partner, designer, developer, and copywriter rolled into one. Just type your idea, and Horizons builds a working, mobile-friendly website or web app. No coding required. Let's say I'd like an app that let me track all the major star systems within 25 light years, how far they are from Earth, and what the name of the ship going to them is, what year it launched, how fast it's going, calculate what year it will arrive, and have a place to upload some ship notes and an image. We just give it that prompt, and about a minute later, we've got a good draft. Nice theme and examples, but not quite on the nose, so we can tweak it. Now it has a nice drop-down list of actual systems and distances, which is going to make life easier for me while drafting our upcoming episode, Beyond Alpha Centauri. It's fast, flexible, and easy to modify. Horizons handles everything from SEO to hosting and email setup, all backed by Hosting Your's global infrastructure and 24/7 support. So if you got an idea buried like a cosmic relic, dig it up and launch it today with Hosting Your Horizons. Use code IsaacArthur to get 10% off. Detecting the undetectable. If ancient alien artifacts are out there, why haven't we found any? The answer might be we're not looking in the right way, or we're looking for things that no longer exist in their original form. Most of our current searches for alien life focus on signals, radio waves, narrowband emissions, or powerful laser pulses, but artifacts, especially the ancient kind, do not broadcast. They endure, quietly. So we have to shift focus. Instead of listening, we must observe, not for communication, but for construction. That means looking for anomalies, objects that behave unlike natural ones. Dyson swarms would reflect light in strange ways. Waste heat from megastructures might glow faintly in the infrared. A cluster of stars arranged in suspiciously geometric patterns might be an ancient computation lattice or transmission array. But artifacts do not stay pristine. Over millions or billions of years, they degrade. A once clear technosignature might now look like an unexplained infrared excess. A ruined orbital ring might pass for a natural asteroid belt. A machine world long since cooled may seem like a rogue planet or a brown dwarf. Some artifacts may have even evolved, adapting their structure over time to remain hidden or efficient. Like biological life, long-lived machines might become streamlined, reduced to a shell of their original function, still active but no longer recognizable. And then there's the possibility of false negatives, signs we've seen, cataloged, and dismissed because we don't know what to look for. Strange stellar dimming, unusual periodicity in emissions, energy fluctuations without a clear source. These may not be cosmic accidents, but the echoes of alien industry, still humming in the dark. If ancient relics exist, they may not look like obelisks or derelict starships. They may be disguised by time, mistaken for nature, only noticeable when they fail. The challenge isn't just in finding them, it's in knowing what to recognize as artificial at all. The human reaction. Suppose we do find one, an artifact not from nature but from a mind long dead. What happens next? Do we study it, share it, exploit it, or do we panic and bury it again? Human history does not offer comforting parallels. We've gone to war over fragments of ideology and scraps of territory. An alien artifact, especially one with active systems, data, or promise, might fracture our world. Governments would compete to control it. Corporations might try to reverse engineer it. Religious movements could emerge around its origin or its implications. Remember our bunker example from earlier. You could have some outpost somewhere that contained technology, and the person stationed there is a collection of escapist fiction, which now becomes canon. Or their personal journal, which isn't terribly accurate about what was going on, and that grew increasingly nihilistic and bleak while the empire fell around their ears. Or even while it didn't, but they just hated being stationed on some equivalent to an Arctic listening post. And that's assuming we agree the artifact is real in the first place. A relic too far advanced might be dismissed as a hoax. One too broken might be considered worthless. One too dangerous might be hidden. Many would say better let sleeping dogs lie, but even doing nothing is a choice with consequences. Leave it alone, and it might activate on its own. Study it recklessly, and it might unleash something we cannot control. The artifact might be inert, helpful, or harmful, but the way we react to it may matter more than the artifact itself. Even if the device is completely dead, just a monument to a long-gone empire, the effect on our culture could be seismic. It would prove we are not alone, that we are not the first, and that our future may one day be someone else's archaeology. Or worse, someone else's warning. The Million-Year Message. Not all ancient artifacts are accidents. Some might be deliberate messages, bottles cast into the cosmic ocean, intended not to warn or destroy, but to endure. Imagine a civilization that knows its end is near, not from war but from entropy, climate collapse, or the death of its star. With their last resources, they build a monument, a vault of knowledge, a record of their language and science, or simply a cosmic "we were here." They do not expect a reply, they just want someone to know. Such a message wouldn't be broadcast once and forgotten, it would need to persist for millions of years. That means simple materials, stable environments, and robust encoding, things our own engineers have contemplated when designing data meant to survive geologic time. We might someday find a dead probe resting on an asteroid, its engines long cold but its core still intact, or an unassuming stone monument buried deep beneath an exoplanet's surface, etched with symbols in diamond lattice. These million-year messages may never be found, but they may outlast every star, every planet, and every war. And if we do find one, then someone, somewhere, succeeded in reaching the future. That future is us. Galactic Cemeteries. Not every artifact has to be a machine or a monument. Some are mausoleums in motion, tombs that drift through space, still keeping silent watch over the dead. Some may be memorials, deliberate resting places left by alien civilizations to honor their dead or commemorate their fall. Places built to last, as sacred as anything in their civilization, and as a culture of 2 or 3 civilization. Such tombs may house untold trillions, and have their own techno-mummies who volunteered to guard their fallen comrades' final resting place. Or those tombs might hoard armies left asleep, waiting till the order to arise and fight new wars. As we've discussed before, wards at war might opt to put their civilian populations in stasis or cryobunkers for the duration, saving resources and keeping them safe, and so too they might put their armies to rest in peacetime, and an enemy might spend much to sabotage their wake-up signal or protocols to leave them in their slumber. Or we might encounter a ward left as an object lesson, a ward blackened by grey goo or nanofire, left untouched as a warning, a moon carved with names in a language no one speaks, an entire fleet of derelict ships left drifting in formation, their crews long since gone, preserved like an eternal funeral procession. We may not recognize them as cemeteries, we might mistake them for ruins, accidents, or odd geology, but to those who made them they were sacred, and disturbing such sites, unwittingly or not, might carry consequences we do not expect. Even if no one is left to punish us, the artifact itself might still know the difference. In the end, what we find may not be a tool or a trap, but a tombstone, and it may ask a question we're not ready to answer. Do we belong here, or are we trespassing? The ghosts we might meet. We often dream of discovering alien technology as a doorway to enlightenment, to answers, to a better future, but ancient relics don't come with instruction manuals, or guarantees. In a universe this vast and this old, we are not just explorers, we are archaeologists in a museum with no labels, and some of the exhibits are still humming. Back in the 1800s and 1900s, every archaeology story involved meeting mummies or ghosts, and while we tend to dismiss those as fantasy now, keep in mind that an alien artifact might well have very real mummies or ghosts, digital demons, uploaded minds, guardians in stasis vaults, and other unpleasant revenants and phantasms who might be anything but illusory. Science fiction has warned us, ghost ships and cursed stations abound, in tales like Dead Space, Event Horizon, or Sunshine. But what if real alien relics come with sentinels in stasis or hostile minds, encoded in ancient code? What we find out there may not be kind, it may not even be understandable, but it will be meaningful, because it will prove that we are not the first to ask these questions, or to reach for the stars. Some artifacts will be warnings, some might be traps, others may be gifts, if we are wise enough to recognize them, but all of them are echoes, and echoes by their nature only answer after the voice is gone. So if we find the relics of the ancients, what will we do? Will we press forward, pause in awe, or repeat the same mistakes on a grander scale? Because the stars may be silent, but silence does not mean safety. Sometimes it just means something is waiting. The next artifacts. For my part, I don't think we will find ancient alien ruins, because I tend to doubt they would have fallen so completely, but if they did, then presumably so could we. One day, if we endure long enough, we'll leave our own artifacts behind, relics for the next intelligence to find. A satellite orbiting a dead Earth, a Martian city half buried in dust, found by the evolved descendants of some animal we engineered to survive there, a data crystal drifting for 10 billion years with nothing but a story etched into light. Will they understand us? Will they fear us? Or will they look at what we built and wonder, what were we trying to say? And maybe, just maybe, they'll see not just our mistakes, but our wonder, our ambition, and our refusal to go quietly into the dark. Will they look upon us with awe, or wonder what caused our fall? And on the pedestal these words appear. My name is Ozymandias, King of Kings. Look on my works, ye mighty, and despair. Nothing beside remains. Round the decay of that colossal wreck, Boundless and bare, the lone and level sands stretch far away.